This is going to be our last PowerPoint presentation, and it is going to be chapter 17. It's project closeout. It's on page 440 of your textbook. So the objectives of this chapter is reasons for completing the closeout procedures and project completion as quickly as possible, punch list procedure and the physical completion of the project, completion of paperwork requirements, and the financial resolution of the project. So what does the project closeout consist of? So we have the actual physical completion of the project. We have all the completion of paperwork, all the requirements um, have been reached and submitted. So contractual requirements, and some of them examples are contractual requirements and operation and maintenance manuals. And financial resolution has been achieved between the owner and the contractor with their subcontractors. So all of that has been completed. So as the project nears completion, the contractor should compile a list of remaining work to be called a punch list. So when the preliminary punch list is complete, the architect engineer are notified, and then they will inspect the project of requested portions of the project and compile the punch list. Separate punch lists are sometimes generated by consulting engineers, such as electrical and mechanical, for their portions of the work. Sometimes their portions of the work are put in with the master punch list for the whole project, and then that's used for everyone's purpose in being able to close it out. So they're going to go by this one master punch list. And we know that a punch list is basically items that have been left off being completed, have not been fully completed, or defects that were identified that have not been fixed. So that would be an example of a punch list. So this next slide is from page 443 of your textbook. It's better to see it from your textbook. So it says the project work has been completed, and the contractor makes the punch list. The contractor and the subcontractors combine and they complete the punch list, and they notify the architect. So then the architect engineer comes out, they make their own punch list, and then the punch list is then completed. Then the architect, once the punch list has been officially completed and signed off by the architect engineer saying that yes, we do verify that everything here has been completed, then the architect issues a certificate of substantial completion, and the contractor completes the contract requirements, and then final payment and the release of retainage of all the monies that's been constantly being shown on the progress payments. The retainage amounts are then released. So that's figure 17-1 on page 443 of your textbook. So we mentioned this certificate of completion. So after the punch list items have been corrected and the architect engineer have signed off on it, then their certificate of substantial completion is released. Sometimes you see a certificate of substantial completion with an AIA form. That's the Architect Institute. It's a standard form where all the parties sign off. Sometimes you'll see a CMAA form or whatever standard form that the owner would like to use. So that's going to be signed off by all parties, saying that that substantial completion has been received on this date and has been completed. So normally substantial completion means that the facility or portion of the facility is acceptable for the owner's use and occupancy. The commonly used term for this stage of completion is also known as beneficial occupancy. So at this point, the owner can start having, start showing the space to different tenants. They can start for roadway civil works. They can start opening up the roadways, completely open it up and just have some maybe here and there some closures. Just moving things from one lane to another lane to shoulder, something like that. But for the most part, it's all the whole project has been complete to its intended use. So obtain a certificate of substantial completion, and that substantial completion is going to be issued by the architect engineer or the CM, and and it states that the building is usable for its intended purpose, but maybe they may have deficiencies that need to be corrected. Oh, why does this keep doing this? So copy of the corrected punch list should be attained to certificate, and it ends the GC liability for any liquidated damages. So we mentioned liquidated damages were usually implemented when the project, or yeah, liquidated damages are basically taken into account uh, when the project has not met the deadline to its milestone. So they said that they were going to complete the project August 1st. That was when they were supposed to do it. So if the certificate of substantial completion comes, let's say July 30th, that's it. So no liquidated damages are going to be taken if they're still out there doing some punch list corrections here and there. So they're not going to be affected by any liquidated damages charges. So that's that. So substantial completion is on page 445 of your textbook, and then they defined on beneficial occupancy on 446 of your textbook. So in the bottom of 446 it says liquidated damages usually cannot be imposed if they are in effect. Substantial completion will stop the liquidated damages from being further imposed. Okay, so continuing with project closeout, we have demobilizing, um, expensive, need to clean up the project site. You have to close the project office, remove your equipment materials, disconnect any temporary utilities, contact vendors to close accounts with them. Project staff is phased out, and project files are taken from the main office and brought over to wherever the owner wants to store it, all the files and documents. So this is the substantial completion form, the AIA document G704. I think your textbook has an example of this on page 448. Let's see if they have one filled out. No, they don't. So they just give you an example here. But pretty much it says that the work performed under this contract has been reviewed by the architect engineer. It's been substantially completed, and basically they're going to go ahead and sign off on it, the architect, and the date of issuance, and then the contractor and the owner sign as well, saying that yes, we do agree to the date. The project has been substantially completed. So, project closeout of paperwork. So, system testings and documentation, operations maintenance manuals, record drawings, warranties and guarantees, and lien releases have to be basically, there can't be any liens on the property. Nobody can come back to the owner and later, sue them for any type of reason whatsoever. So no liens on the property. Retainage is released. So the owner, that's it. We're done. We paid you everything, and that's that. You can't come back later and say that we didn't pay you. System testing and documentation have to be provided to the owner. So they usually have a commissioning agent come in. They run the test as the project is happening. So they're going to have that documentation. The CM, that documentation from the commissioning agent is going to go to the CM. So they're going to have all the system information, the testing results, how to operate, how to maintain it, and that goes into operation and maintenance manuals bullet right here. So operating these systems, these elements, these different types of equipment, uh, storage facilities, different boiler rooms, electrical rooms, all that, how to work it. It's going to be in the operation maintenance manual. That's going to be transferred over to, if you're a public agency, you have staff that need to be well equipped and educated on how to fix and maintain these operating systems. So sometimes the CM might even have the commissioning agent come in and give them a tutorial. Sometimes the vendor will be present and let them know of how to go about reaching its optimal, uh, basically for the system not to break down, and they have the knowledge to go ahead and maintain it. And now record drawings. Record drawings are any changes from the original contract drawings. So they're going to be marked up by the inspection agencies. They're going to be packaged together, also submit to the owner because they want to know whether there's just the different conditions of soil, perhaps, or they change the pipe material, type of pipe that they were putting in there. So any changes would be noted on those drawings. Warranties and guarantees, that's going to be very important, going back to the systems and the equipment and all the utilities that they put in. So all that's going to have warranties and guarantees. And we've discussed lien releases. So operations and maintenance manual. I believe your book does define this, and this is on page 450 and 451. So most contract documents require that the contractor furnish operations and maintenance manuals for all the equipment on the project. Although these manuals normally include mechanical electrical information, relevant facts about other operating systems installed by the contractor and subs should be included as well. So like operating doors, finish hardware, folding partitions, and other equipment items could be listed as well. So the O&M manual include, back to the slide, is manufacturer's instructions about the equipment, the different diagrams and part lists, and some data contain catalog information. And this is on page 451. I just took that straight from there. Instruction sessions are held for operations maintenance, normally conducted by the contractor, sub, and the manufacturer's representative for the facility's maintenance personnel. So just what I mentioned like a minute ago. So that's going to be operations maintenance manual. Record drawings, which is the same thing as as-built, is on page 453 of your textbook. Continuing operations maintenance manual, what's included in there? So description of the works, details of each installed item, including manufacturer, model number, and any subtype information such as color, details of where the item is installed, either refer to drawings that have this information or include textual description, textual maintenance information or reference to manufacturers, literature that has this information, any relevant drawings, any relevant test and commissioning information, and manufacturer's operation maintenance information, product data sheets, safety data sheets, and or drawings.